All right, let's jump right into a huge problem for pretty much any online business today. How do you actually prove your users are who they say they are without, turning your company into a giant vault of sensitive data that's basically a target for hackers? It's a tough spot to be in, but thankfully, there's a really clever solution we're going to break down right now. So here's what we've got on deck. We'll start with the core problem, this verification dilemma. Then we'll navigate the data minefield that is GDPR. After that, we'll get to the good stuff, the attestation solution, how it actually works under the hood, and the best part, how you get compliance without all the liability. Okay, so let's get to the heart of it. It really feels like a catch-22, doesn't it? On one side, you've got payment processors and banks demanding you verify everybody. And on the other, you have these super strict privacy laws telling you, don't you dare collect data you don't need. You're just stuck right in the middle. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you keep everyone happy? How do you satisfy your partners and the regulators at the same time? Because let's be honest, the old way of just collecting and hoarding scans of passports and driver's licenses, that's getting riskier every single day. This slide really lays it all out. Over here, the payment processors, driven by things like anti-money laundering rules, are saying, hey, we need proof you did your KYC, your Know Your Customer checks. But then you've got GDPR and other laws basically screaming, whoa, hold on, you are on the hook for every byte of personal data you store, and you better have an amazing reason for having it. They're completely at odds. And let's zoom in on those privacy laws for a second, especially GDPR. And when we say data minefield, we are not exaggerating. This isn't just a friendly suggestion from regulators. This regulation has serious, serious teeth. And holding on to user IDs puts you smack dab in the middle of it. Just look at that number, 20 million euros. Or, and this is the part that gets really scary, it can be 4% of your company's total worldwide revenue for the year, whichever is higher. I mean, that's a number that can put a company out of business. It's exactly why this isn't something you can afford to get wrong. So here's one of the big legal traps. It's a GDPR principle called purpose limitation. Basically, if a user gives you their ID just to prove they're over 18 to use your platform, you can't just turn around and then forward that same ID to your bank. That's a totally different purpose, and doing that is a clear violation. And then there's this one, data minimization. This is just a fancy way of saying you should only collect the absolute bare minimum amount of data you need to get the job done. So you have to ask yourself, is a full scan of a passport with the photo, the address, all of it, really the minimum you need? The answer is almost always no. Okay, so we've established the problem pretty clearly. Holding on to user IDs is a complete regulatory nightmare. So what do? How do you get out of this mess? Well, this is where we pivot to a much smarter, much more elegant solution. And here it is, the hero of our story, something called a KYC attestation. This is a total shift in how you think about the problem. You move away from holding the data itself to just holding secure proof that the data was checked. This is the perfect analogy. It makes it all click. Instead of keeping a risky photocopy of a passport in your file cabinet, you just get an official cryptographically secure stamp that says, hey, we, a trusted expert, saw the passport, we confirmed it's legit, this person is who they claim to be. You get all the proof you need with none of the liability of the actual document. So that sounds great in theory, right? A digital notary stamp. But how does it actually work? What's the tech that makes this whole thing possible? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the mechanics. It's a pretty straightforward four-step process. First, a trusted verification service handles the sensitive part, checking the user's ID and maybe a selfie in its own secure bubble. Then, it just computes a simple result, yes or no, verified or not. And here's the key. The user's raw data never leaves that secure bubble. Third, it generates this special certificate, the attestation, which only contains the outcome. And finally, that certificate is digitally signed to prove it's legit and delivered to you. You get your proof without ever seeing the passport. Now, this attestation is really clever because it has two layers. Layer 1 is the public proof. This is the part you can share with your payment processor. As you can see, there's absolutely no raw personal info here. No name, no date of birth, just the result, the type of document, and a signature. It's everything they need and nothing they don't. Then there's the second layer, the private one. And this part never even gets sent to you, the platform. It contains what are called hashes of the user's info. Think of it like taking a digital fingerprint of the data. It's scrambled in a way that can't be reversed.
Its only job is for those rare cases where, say, law enforcement shows up with a warrant and needs to confirm if a specific person was verified. It lets the verification provider say yes or no without ever revealing the original info. It is truly security by design. Okay, let's bring it all home. What's the bottom line here? What's the big business payoff for doing things this way? Well, it's huge. You finally get to have your cake and eat it too. You get the compliance you need without taking on all that terrifying risk.
I mean, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Look at this side by side. It's night and day. If you store the documents yourself and you get breached, your users' full identities are out there. With an attestation, only some meaningless metadata gets exposed. The massive GDPR liability, it shifts from you to the specialized provider. This one change structurally de-risks your entire company.
And just imagine your next conversation with an auditor or a payment partner. Instead of being on the defensive, you can confidently check all these boxes. You can say, yes, all our users are verified by a regulated expert. Yes, we have a signed, tamper-proof record for every single one. And most importantly, we do not store raw personal data by design. That is an incredibly powerful position to be in. So we'll leave you with this final thought. In today's world of massive data breaches and eye-watering fines, you really have to ask yourself, is all that sensitive user data you're sitting on really an asset? Or has it secretly become a ticking liability just waiting to go off? The attestation model proves there's a much safer and frankly much smarter way to do business.